Bonjour, listening people.
Bonjour.
How are you, Bartek?
Good in French. How are you, Ryan?
Oui, oui.
You should have gone before we started.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. We
Points
did it.
at door.
Hey, the film we are going to be discussing
We?
today. Yes, we. The film, yes, we are discussing today on our podcast, Pictures Powwow, actually mentions a Polish person.
It does, yeah. It's like, oh, Polish guy did this thing.
Which one of us did that? Out of the two of us, which one is the guy who took the peyote and then sawed their leg
Yeah,
off?
which of us non-drug using
But
Polish
Pol-
guys?
You're the one, I think.
Yeah,
I think it's you.
I'm more distinctly Polish. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're probably the one that would lose a leg between us. I'm just saying.
Mm.
I feel like Bartek, has a hard time running at the best of times, and I think every
Yeah.
single day I've known you, for the last 10 plus years, you've got scratched up knees in some way because of your computer desk that you sit at scratches your knees, but you won't replace it. Because why would you? You got calloused knees now because
I've changed the way I sit now, but
yeah, it's the shins now. That's the difference. One day I'll go down to the ankles and then the toes.
I'm a min-maxer. I don't practice my running, but I practice my other skills.
Bartek is also looks maxing now with these knees. But we are here today on Spit and Polish Presents to do our series Pictures Powwow, in which we talk about a movie that has come recommended, whether it is from one of us, your hosts, or you, the listening people. That's right, you, the listening people, can suggest a movie. In fact, the next movie is a listening people's suggestion. Isn't that right?
We.
Yeah, see? He said it in French. And why are we making jokes and comments about the French, you may ask?
What jokes?
What the French are a joke. I mean, that's a start.
Right.
Have you heard their language?
Yeah, I've watched Elle.
You've watched Elle. Don't worry. We've also is that the only French film we've done outside of the one we're doing today, technically?
Yeah, are we only doing French films about rape?
Yeah. Well, that again, people, we are talking about a movie that covers a lot of heavy topics. We are talking about the 2017 film Revenge. I recommended this. I was interested when it came out, but I did not get the chance to see it until this very moment. A part of what we're doing this year as well with our recommendations is recommending films that have come out during the time of our podcast, ones that perhaps we missed out on, or ones we heard about, or one of us has seen and the other hasn't, or maybe we have seen it, but we haven't seen it since it came out, and we want to give it a revisit or to talk about it on the podcast. And as stated, Revenge, 2017's Revenge, I missed out on. I was curious to see it. I heard great word of mouth about it. It was a first-time feature filmmaker taking a big swing and doing a lot of stylish stuff. And then, when you know it, years later, she came back with a very successful film called The Substance, which got a lot of accolades and a lot of acclaim, helped revive the career or the status of Demi Moore, who we like on the podcast. We've enjoyed her. She was in Nothing But Trouble, of course. And that was a great film, The Substance. And then I was further like, I missed out on seeing Revenge. There's that part of you that was like, I was there when, they kind of started off, but I wasn't. I joined in on the more popular film of hers. So I thought, with this podcast, I thought, well, I'm looking at all of these years, and each one of them has a plentiful amount, but 2017, I must admit, was one where I was looking at it going, not many films in the list here that I want to do on the podcast, but then I saw Revenge, and I was like, you know what? Yes, let's do this. I did not think about how there's a recurring theme with my movies currently, which is their one-word titles involving sexual assault, but I didn't think about it, but here we are.
Hey, if we chuck in Anomalisa, that's just women and sex.
Yeah, no French in that one.
No, Japanese.
Yeah, it was a filthy Japanese.
Anomalisa.
And English, of course, the British English, of course. But Revenge is a film that is a rape revenge story. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. We could give you more of the details, but it's
in the subgenre title, yeah.
And it lives up to that, but it has a specific genre twist. It's about the execution. It's about the way that they tell the story, these characters, the film language of it all. The feminist take on this as well is very prevalent, how it plays around with the male gaze and all of those things. So everyone, make sure to give this a watch for yourself. Of course, be warned, heavy material in there, but also when you hear the idea of like a rape revenge movie, like say I Spit on Your Grave, which I feel like this movie is in great dialogue with, this one is brutal, but not in the ways you would expect. It's more in the ways of her seeking her revenge, but still there's stuff here that may trigger some people. So if you do check it out, go in thinking best of yourself, but I would say give it a watch, because also it's quite fun. This movie's a lot. It's a lot. And that's where I'll start off with. This movie is a lot. I watched it last night with my wife, and she said many times, fuck yeah, get him. And why am I watching this while squirming? So it goes in some quite drastic directions. But Bartek, tell us a bit about your history and or experiences with revenge, not the concept, the film.
Yes. I watched this one very late. Not late at night. I literally finished it like 4 hours ago.
Okay.
So very shortly before I left to come here. So I watched it late in the morning. And I guess I was doing other stuff in the morning. I kept putting off, but thinking back in my head, like, oh, I've got to, get through a 2-hour film before having to head out. So I was kind of not in the mood. But the film itself, I very much warmed up to, so it was not any sort of issue to get through. It was a pretty good film.
Did you have any idea about this film's existence, what it was going for, the people involved even?
Just little things that I glanced at on Wikipedia and hearing about what you were talking about last time, where you're like, oh, it's by the person that did The Substance, which is a film I haven't seen, but I heard a lot about because, it was one that was very much talked about. So I saw that like, oh, okay, this is a rape and revenge film. I think I scrolled down to look for some other information. I happened to glance at like Fangoria and a bunch of horror sites have given it like accolades and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, this is going to be like a bit more of a gory film then.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it ended up being that.
Oh boy, did it. In very specific ways. The gore, the horror is implemented. Very specific, very pointed ways, but very interesting nonetheless. But I heard about it, and, I must admit, rape revenge movies aren't my bag, baby. I've never gone out of my way to watch them. But I know that they're a subgenre, they're an exploitation piece. I mean, that is, talking about, like, I Spit on Your Grave, Last House on the Left, like, all of these things. It's where some filmmakers got their start. Isn't that crazy to think about?
Yeah. I've seen I Spit on Your Grave a few times. And
a few? Okay.
I think like once with audio commentary. And so I was thinking about that a lot while watching this, because just saying like, hey, I know the structure of this. It's doing some very similar things to what that film was doing. In a kind of way, both are doing sort of feministy things, but in very different ways. Like the I Spit on Your Grave feels a lot more exploitative.
Oh boy.
This one feels much more modern and very consistent with like the way it's portraying the characters. Like the revenge is obviously being done by the woman who got raped by one of the characters in this film. And so one way that you would imagine this might go is like, oh, well, she becomes like in a way, like a horror movie villain to them, like, chasing them down, terrorizing them. But no, it's very consistent about keeping her very, like, human.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's, other than maybe one sequence, you never really are unaware of where she is in a scene. And there's a point where she takes the peyote is established at one point, and it's like, oh, it makes you go like super high. And I thought that the film was going for a thing where it's like, oh, she's going to turn into like a superhuman monster or something. But no, it keeps it very grounded.
I thought that she was going to use it against them, but she uses the peyote for herself.
Yeah,
which was also an interesting thing, because it's like the first thing that's set up in the movie is the helicopter pilot gets the first lines of dialogue, really, and he hands it to Richard, what will be the main antagonist, and like a handshake, like, this will get you going, buddy. And so like that's literally one of the first things we get is setup, to like a plot device thing, but it was used in a way that I personally wasn't expecting, but also makes complete sense. But I was thinking, oh, this is going to be used against them rather than used for her.
Yeah, healing her so that she can be a bit more on the level.
Yes, but I talk about this subgenre. It is a fascinating subgenre. Like, it is exploitation. A lot of these rape revenge movies, have they have the double edge to them, where they're people who can look back on them and think of them in the film landscape and talk about like the feminism in quotations, because woman gets their revenge against man or rapists, but also a lot of these films still have the other side of it, in which it is sleazy exploitation made by perverted men. I mean, Last House on the Left is horrible. It's absolute trash, but you can't ignore it in film canon because it's like the start of Wes Craven, who, is synonymous with the genre of horror after a certain point, like Wes Craven's New Nightmare, like these are things where it's like he gets to a point where it says Wes Craven's blank. You can't just ignore stuff like Last House on the Left, for example. So this genre will always exist in the film knowledge of things, not just as cheap exploitation that, in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, there was a string of these. So when a more contemporary filmmaker wants to do their own spin on it, it already has legs to it, because there is a established kind of dialogue within film where this was the launching pad for some filmmakers and actors, these type of movies. And so when this filmmaker, it is the launching pad for her as well, it's like, okay, this is a lot to take in, but this is also one where it's like, a woman is directing and writing this for a start, not Wes Craven, a dude, directing it in the woods.
Yeah, and I think I read a trivia point about how she hadn't seen a lot of the films that we're referencing here.
Yeah, no, she's more of and you can tell, a David Lynch fan. I was not at all surprised when I read one of the first trivia points was, the film that inspired this a lot was Wild at Heart. And I'm like, I can see it on the screen. Oh boy,
okay.
I can see it on the screen. Especially, again, not to spoil Wild at Heart for people, but the way that people's bodies get affected by gunfire, very similar to Wild at Heart, I'll just say that. But even like David Lynchian shots, like there's this moment in this where the men are tracking her down through, like, at night on their motorbikes and quad bikes and car because of her blood trail, and you just get these overlaid shots of just the blood trails, and it was very David Lynch. But imagine a highway with the line in the center of it. You'd get those shots all of the time in his movies. I obviously think of Lost Highway, Twin Peaks: The Return, and things like that. So there was a lot of like, I see the DNA of that influence for sure.
The trivia I read, and I think it was just on the Wikipedia page, was that she was quoted as saying that she was thinking more of films like Kill Bill and Mad Max.
Oh, yes, you could see, oh boy, could you see those two as well. Yes, I was thinking a lot of Mad Max in this, but which is good. Like, there's a lot of referencing to other films, or obviously inspiration. Cronenberg even still is in some of this, especially like the body horror aspects of this, not in the literal sense of people's bodies are transforming, but the fact that flesh becomes, I don't even know, just this meat after, just pure meat after a point where the pain threshold goes beyond, and now it's just meat that you just have to dig your fingers through and pull glass out. But yes, this film, everyone, give it a watch. It's a lot, not only just because of the subject matter, but the presentation is in your face, because everything about this movie is cranked up. The colors are so sickly to look at. They're vibrant, but they're sickly. Like, the first 20 minutes, like before we get to the desert chase hijinks, when we're just at that house, yellow. Everything's like this sickly, yellowish, orangey-ish tinge to everything. There are these colored window doors, and they shine into the room, but even then, like, so much of this is just this sickly yellow tinge. There's this green apple she bites into, and we get to see it rot over the course of the movie, and this green color obviously turns into this yellowish color, and there's just so much. of that where everyone's skin, except for the lead actress, everyone's skin looks so sickly and pockly and just gross. Like this main guy, Richard, like he's clearly a handsome guy, but the way that they shoot him, even at the beginning of the movie when we're supposed to, in quotations, believe that he's all right, he just looks gross. Just something about like the contrast of the camera and the editing and just all of these things. There's just something about like everyone other than the lead actress is made to look like disgusting, but she's made to look gorgeous. There's even this point where like the exuberant colors. She's like covered in blood and mud and grime, but the pink earrings that she has shine out, baby. They look like $1 million, even though they're covered in grime too. The colors are so cranked up to this, not just vibrancy, but just pure filth level that it's an assault on the senses, really.
I didn't so much notice the main guy looking like really gross. Throughout the film, he's like far and away the cleanest one of the cast.
Yes.
And so as the film goes on, he gets more stressed and he spends more time outside. He gets dirty. And then by the time you get to the climax of the film and he returns to the house,
to wash off.
Yeah, to wash off. And but before he goes, like, undresses, he's just sitting on the couch all dirty in this very...
On the white couch.
Yeah, on this white couch in this very, like, postmodern looking place in the middle of the desert that you just spent, like, over an hour seeing, like, the pure nature of. It's like, whoa, it's an impactful contrast just going back to a familiar location that you kind of forgotten about.
The colors of the movie, just talking about it as well, actually remind me of Slow West in a lot of ways. The Michael Fassbender Western film, especially that desert location, it made me think of if they kept walking, they would bump into that German guy that was hanging out in the deserts. But this film has that kind of 70s exploitation hue to it to a different degree. So, because like when we say Mad Max, for instance, like Mad Max is a clear inspiration point for this. But the visual language, like the visual look of it is nothing like Mad Max. Because the thing about the Mad Max movies, especially those first two, is they're just very, just color palette wise, they're very muted and stark. Like, it's just like, look at the countryside of Australia that they're shooting in, and it's just like slightly brown. It's not like blood red like it is in Fury Road and the Furiosa. It's just kind of muted, just harsh contrast. While this movie, everything's got a idea of color is present in every single thing. Like, so when we have the juxtaposition from beginning to end of this postmodern lovely house that has like both this, it's so chic modern day, but also feels like it's from the 60s. When it's now covered in blood, everything's covered in blood. You just go, okay, this is silly. This is silly. It's not scary. It's silly.
I do remember one thing. I had to find a copy of this online, obviously, and I had to scroll through it just to make sure it was working. I remember the last frame I looked at before, starting the film. It was, I think, like the shot after she kills the last guy and she's in that like thin hallway that's like covered in blood. So I had a quick glimpse of that frame before starting the film and thinking to myself, like, okay, there's going to be a part where she's like indoors in like a red tunnel that looks like a dungeon or something. And so it was a huge shock to me when, this is like a recurring location in that climax of the film. They just keep running through it and it gets dirty and dirtier every time.
Slippery.
Yeah, just seeing it transform from like this clean postmodern hallway into, what I mistook as like a dungeon or like behind a bed, like a hidden location. It was just really, really cool.
So overall, I enjoyed this movie a lot. I appreciate it for the fact of like thinking of in the context of everything, of the genre, but also this filmmaker. They've made a bunch of short films. This is their big feature film. Then the next one that they do basically takes a lot of the stuff from this and perfects it. It's a different story. It's playing with different stuff, but so much of it is very much like, oh, this visual cue, they're going to use again, but it's going to be used for even greater purpose. The substance is a satire for a start. It's very clearly a satire, while this is much more playing in the wheelhouse of the film it is, of being a rape revenge story, with some satirical elements. There's obviously a humor to this movie. Like, it is funny at a certain point, but at the same time, it's playing it a lot more straight-laced. You could enjoy this both as like a satirical takedown feminist viewpoint of this type of movie, or you could just enjoy this type of movie as just what it is, like as on that surface level. But I feel like the substance, it's like much more meticulous and much more with a like grandiose point, and there's just such a bluntness to the imagery in this, where it's just like symbolism, do you get it? But not in a negative way, not in a subtext is for cowards type way. There's just this brash, loud, gaudy way that she is a filmmaker, Coralie Fargette, goes about doing messaging, where it's just like, you know what this means? Do you get it? Do you get, like, she's got a phoenix on her belly. Do you get it?
Yeah, I was trying to like, what was the name of the drink she was drinking? Was it like Phoenix beer or something?
It was Mexican beer.
Mexican beer, yeah.
Yeah, which is fun. But what did you feel overall? You seem positive?
I'm very positive on this film. There really isn't much that I disliked. I guess if there was anything, like, I'm not the biggest fan of gore. Not that it makes me like queasy or anything. I know some people are like really, they struggle with it. And some people really love it. With me, it's just like, okay, yeah, I kind of get it. Like, obviously, we had the scene where she's taking the spike out of her stomach, and it was impactful there because, this is something that's really killing her, and you want to see her, like, get out of the situation. And she does a lot of really clever things, like when she, cuts open the can and heats it up and uses it to, like, cauterize a huge part of her stomach, like that.
Yeah.
So there it was, like, really cool. But when the guy had, like, the glass in his foot, like, as enjoyable as it is to see him, get his comeuppance in a minor way.
And all the setups that led to that. There's so many setups in the movie for that to pay off.
Yeah, but once we got there and it was like, he's taking his time getting it out, it's like, okay, I get what they're doing, but, can we move on a bit?
Yeah, we haven't covered, although we've covered a lot of variety of movies, we haven't really done that type of gory horror that much. And usually there's a comedic bend to it when we do. Like, Wolf Creek came to mind as well. The Wolf Creek films came to mind as well when watching this. Wolf Creek 2 is the one we've covered on the podcast, and that one's like very funny. Like, it's so over the top. But you and I are similar in that way. I actually don't have a problem with gore stuff. It doesn't bother me, but it's just not something I go out of my way to watch. It's just not movies that I watch. But I personally don't have an issue with these things. I think with this film in particular, it worked fine. I think it rides a line of playing it sincerely for the terror, the horror, and the just pain of it all, and then playing it in the other way where it's almost like transcended pain, and you've now gone to this realm of not comedy with it, but this realm of just like they have gone so far in their revenge path / murder spree that pain is no longer the thing that's weighing them down anymore. And that goes for both the antagonists and the heroine. So yeah, the violence in this movie never felt gratuitous to me. And here's the thing too, and I would love to hear also from some women's points of view of this movie, because this has been heralded a lot, this movie, for being a feminist take on this subject matter. But when we actually get to the sexual assault itself, it's done tastefully. They show you enough, but they know not to just linger on it. While the films that are the foundation points of this genre, that's what they linger on. They linger on like the horror of that being the thing, and it becomes no longer horrifying as an event, but it becomes horrifying that the filmmakers are just wanting you to see it. While this film, they give you the emotional impact of it, the cutting, and the fact that one of the people involved in this is someone who walks away and just goes about their business and goes for a swim and is just just pretending like it's not happening, or if they do care, if they do know it's like, if they know it's happening, and if they do they just don't care.
Yeah.
That's horrifying in itself, rather than seeing sex on screen that's via force, you know?
In my comparing it while watching to I Spit on Your Grave, like in that film, it's 4 guys and it's like a gang thing. And
yeah, and this one is just one.
Yeah, and it's also kind of like 3 rapes in a row kind of thing. That's why it's the longest rape scene in history. It's like half an hour. I really appreciated in this film that not only did they cut it down to 3 people, but also that they all had like something distinct about them in this whole thing. So one is obviously the perpetrator, just the one guy does the rape. There's the, the love interest character who, would be the one to stand by her side, and yet he's got his own priorities he ends up betraying her. And then there's the guy who could have been the hero. Like, he walked in and he chose to just let it happen. So, like, all 3 very distinct roles. Whereas in the original, there's, like, the sympathetic guy, there's the leader, and then just 2 others.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And, each one of these characters have very well-defined things about them before the incident happens, and then when this incident happens, they all are reborn or reshaped into something else, or we see them for something else, because this film plays around with the emerging from the ashes approach. Like, the imagery of Phoenix is a big deal. And, the film does not live in the grounded world, as you were saying before. Like, a part of the enjoyment is, like, there is a grounded element, but there is this heightened, transcendent thing where it goes to this other realm, like with pain. Like, there is a lot of religious imagery involved. The character gets impaled on a tree, and there's the branch is sticking all the way out, and like hours and hours and hours she's walking around with the branch still sticking out, and she's put her shirt over it, and I think that's very funny. But like you get to all of these things, but each one of these characters, there's only 4 characters in the movie. There's also the helicopter pilot, but there's only 4 characters, and in the first 20 minutes you get to know a version of them. Even if you know it's false, you get to know a version of them. And so when the incident happens and we see them flip, it tells you all the more about them. Like that guy, Dimmy, the one who walks in and then walks out. In the previous 20 minutes, he was the most likable character in a way, because he was like the nervous one. He was always just having a jolly time. He was having a look at her, but he didn't seem as like pervy as the rest of them. And he's the bigger, heavier set guy. And then this incident happens and you see him, and then we get that intense, hard close up on his mouth just eating.
Yeah.
And you get all of the sound effects and all of the viscera of just him eating food. And that just tells you before he walks away how disinterested he is, how little he cares. He's not even going to stop chewing. Yeah,
you don't see his eyes, so as far as you can tell, like, he is just completely neutral. Like, all he's thinking is like, oh, I guess I shouldn't be here.
And that's what he does, and then he goes off and has a swim, and then...
But he has a little moment where he, like, stops, and you're thinking, like, oh, what's going through his head right now? And it's just that, like, oh, I should unmute the TV to drown out the screaming.
Yep.
So it's like even extra, like, oh, fuck you, I thought you were having a, not comeuppance, but like a redeeming moment.
A humanizing moment.
Yeah, humanizing, that's the word.
They don't humanize these rapists. They give you the illusion that you're humanizing them, but then at the end of the day, they fucking deserve it, all of these guys. They all deserve what happens to them. But the film plays with you. They're like, well, Stan, the rapist, once stuff starts to happen... he starts to go into this nervous mode. He's like, oh, maybe we should like apologize and go to the cops and all this stuff, where, all this stuff. And you maybe believe him, or maybe you feel something there. But then you're starkly reminded he was like that before the rape. Like, he presented as this figure, and now he's presenting back as that figure.
Yeah, he's subordinate to the main guy.
Yes. But then when left on his own again... you see that
on his own or with
side
her,
again.
On his own or with her,
Yeah. Yes. You see that side of him again. Even if it's he's fighting for his life, yeah, he still deserves to go down. And then you have Richard, the main, what will be the main antagonist, her boyfriend, her lover, and he is just, at the beginning, he's the most, like, ill-defined in a way, because he's just... handsome guy that she's with. He's the guy that's in charge of all of this, but he's left on purposely just as, I'm just a handsome man who blah, blah, blah. I have a wife. You're my mistress, but other than that, I'm just a guy that's nice.
Yeah, he likes her. He like making jokes about like, I'm going to divorce my wife. I'm going to be with her. And when he finds out about the rape, like he lets the rapist have it.
Yes, but not really though.
Well,
because they're his friends.
Yeah, but he's like screaming at them. It's like, how could you? How could you? And then
because it's inconvenient for him.
Yeah, well, again, you very quickly learn that.
Yeah, what a piece of shit. And then with our main heroine, at the beginning she's flirty, she's very sexual, she's carefree, she has like these loose dreams and ambitions about like I want to go to LA. She's very airheaded,
kind of a free-spirited,
but she can sense when things are off.
Yeah,
she's like
there was some quote that I think the director had where it was like, I wanted to show off these kind of like male gazy shots to highlight like, even though she is presenting this way, she's literally not asking for anything to happen to her. So
this is a film in which it weaponizes the male gaze that is often used in cinema and still says like does not mean that this person is asking for it. And you have to contend with that, you the viewer, because you the viewer, I've made sure to show you how hot she is. I'm making sure to show you her ass and to sexualize her myself so that you guys at home maybe get some reaction to it. And then when this happens, you have to contend with the fact that it's like, it doesn't mean that you or these people have the right to actually, feel the desire. Like she can just be this sexual free spirit. Yeah, exactly. And so it's just like, great, awesome. Like this all works. And like I said, like when we actually have the assault, it's done very tastefully, but very impactfully. One of my biggest praises of the movie, I've been talking about the visuals and all of that. I think it's the editing. The editing in this movie is amazing. It's very harsh. Like the cuts can be so frequent and fast and sudden, and you're just disorientated. Even though in those first 20 minutes when things are, in quotations, fine, everything's going well, things are not going to go well, not only because of what this movie is about and what genre it's playing in, but the editing just makes you uneasy at all times because of just how hard we take those cuts, and just now we're in a sudden abrupt different camera angle, and sometimes it's like almost the same angle, but now it's slightly to the the left more, and it's just like, oh, okay, like what's the intention here? And you could feel like, oh, maybe this is a bit amateurish, but no, like it just keeps building and building and building and building upon itself. Just the frantic nature of the editing just gets you into this very paranoid headspace. And then they let it go when she gets high on the peyote. And then afterwards, it kind of like evens out. The editing becomes much more mannered and serene. And even though like we're going on like the chase now, she's doing the hunting now, the editing itself is like, no, she's laser focused and so are we. Well, in the beginning, you're ping-ponging around from just shot to shot.
Yeah. And
scene to scene.
And it plays again on that idea of like, oh, is she going to be the killing machine now? I just remember the other film she was thinking of was Rambo. You have moments, it's the one that I think of is when she's about to shoot the guy that raped her. In the sniper rifle shot. She compares some of them, she mentally associates some of them to like animals. Yes. And like a shot of an animal that they kind of resemble will go over the screen, like overlay on top of them. I think for him it was a lizard.
An iguana.
Iguana, yeah. And it's like just as she's about to shoot, like the image like appears in her vision and like she hesitates, showing that she's still, traumatized by the experience, even though she is trying to act upon it.
I was curious too. One of the other things that the director pointed out, and it was also in my mind, was Drive. Nicholas Winding Refn as a point of view. And I was curious of what you would think of that, because one of the things I didn't know until afterwards, I didn't even think about it until after I watched the movie, which is the main character no longer has dialogue after she hits that tree. She does not speak.
Okay.
For the rest of the movie. So she only has dialogue for the first 26 minutes of the film and then is completely a silent protagonist from then on.
Okay, yeah.
Didn't notice I did not notice. It did not factor into my mind at all.
Me neither. I was trying to, while we were talking before, I was trying to think of like, what were some of the lines in this film? And I just could not remember.
Yeah, they're all in those first 26 minutes. And then after she's pushed off the cliff, no more dialogue. It's pure visual storytelling. You're seeing the character and you're seeing them through their actions or reactions or their non-reactions to things. And it's about the three guys. They're the ones chatting. And the more they chat to one another, the more afraid they are.
Yeah. The main guy, he's kind of cool until like he's the only one left.
Well, you say he's cool.
Cool's not the right word, but
he is in charge.
He's kind of got it together when he has someone to boss around. But once he's the only one left, that's when he get like, fuck, kicks the bottle.
And even
drives
then,
home.
when they question him, he has to lash out. As he says to her, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. When I get stressed, I lash out and I don't think and da-da-da-da-da," all the usual diatribe. He does it to his own guys. Like, he breaks the nose of the rapist guy when he stands up against him, and he's like, "Oh, that's nice." Boom.
If only you didn't push her down.
Yeah, and then just, boom, breaks his nose, blood splurts everywhere. Like, some of them, there's so much blood in this movie, but one of the most visceral blood scenes is when he breaks that guy's nose. It's so unexpected, just how much blood spews out.
And it was very calculated because the guy says like, "Oh, if only you didn't push her off." He says that before they chuck the guy's body into the river, and the guy gives him a look. Then they do it. Then they start walking away. Then he punches him in the nose. It's like, I still need you for something.
Yeah, I need you as a resource for me. I need you as something to benefit me.
And just before that, he had a line that I'm like, I bet Ryan loves that line.
Oh, which line?
The one where he's like, "Turn off the air conditioning. It's bad for the environment."
And then says it villainously again, "Turn off the aircon." That was great. I did enjoy that. But yeah, Drive was something that was inspiration for this. I can see that too. There's also that scene of Richard driving at night in the black void on the motorcycle where you just get the neon red of the light coming
is that where it's zooming in on his visor? Yeah,
on his visor. All that. It feels very repping in a weird way.
It almost felt like it was going to be like to be continued. Like, is the film ending? Don't end now.
But yeah, there is that, like, after a certain point, it's just these 80s synth sounds, the lighting, the lack of dialogue. I can definitely see all of these inspirations concoct together, but in a way that is a positive, because sometimes when you watch a film and you go, "Oh, clearly they're inspired by this, and this, and this," it can water down the quality of what this film is trying to do because, they're trying to evoke their heroes.
It's just homage the movie.
Exactly. But this doesn't have that. But it does have it in a way where I can tell. Like, when you said Mad Max, I'm like, not shocking at all to me, but in a good way, like in a way that makes me go, yeah, I feel good that you said that, because that was in my mind, but I didn't think it aloud. So, yeah, there was a lot had here, but when we get to, the incident and then everyone's reactions afterwards and then trying to deal with her. I like how it's always just like, Jen, she's a problem. She's having an issue right now. She's having a problem right now. It's not we're the problem. She's having an issue. And, we have to deal with her. And of course, to deal with her is like, let's just murder her. Richard decides, just murder her. I'll just kill her. Surely it won't bring back any consequences upon myself. One of my favorite little details, because this was very interesting, was distance in this movie is paid attention to in a fun way. So they push her off this cliff and she lands on a tree, and then they go back and they spend a while like cleaning everything up and basically disappearing her. They're like, okay, let's get rid of every evidence that she existed. And then let's go back and check on her body, deal with the body. But they walk down, and it takes them a while. They walk down to a level that's just above the tree, but not enough to just jump down. And they see that it's now burnt, and she's gone, and they're like, oh, fuck. And she's like hiding underneath the cliffside, and they don't know it. And they're like, okay, we have to go get her. And they go back to their car and their quad bike, and they drive, and then we cut to, it's night now, because it's so far to get down there. Just, but you think, oh, it shouldn't be that far. But then you're like, oh, no, it actually is quite a distance to get to places via vehicle, via like these things. While her, when we watch the movie, she gets to places a lot more easily than they do because she can walk. but they have vehicles, which in these type of landscapes where there's roads and hills and peaks and things, depending the vehicles, depending the circumstances, it actually means it's a longer travel time for you in some ways than in others.
Yeah, the distance thing kind of threw me off sometimes. Like at that point when it was night, I'm like, well, did it really take that long? Like, I kind of wanted to have another look at the establishing shot again just to prove that, like, oh yeah, it really would have taken however many hours to get down there.
Yeah.
And then there's also when she's tracking down the second guy to kill, the guy in the car, she at first sees, like the reflections on his mirror and he's like really far away. And then she starts, walking towards a spot where, like, they'll intersect. And she's not very far behind his car while he's driving. So at that point, I was like, oh, how did she get, so close there?
Oh, really? I thought it was more like she knew where he was going to go. And then,
yeah, maybe she got, like, ahead of him.
And then went past. And then...
yeah, that would make sense.
And she has a sniper. She has, like, a scoped rifle. So she has long-distance approach to things, which is nice. Yeah, I don't know. I appreciated how they told the story in these visuals where, like, the landscape is, like, a character in itself. And Richard knows how to use it. Like, he's just like, all right, give me a map. I know where she would have gone. She would have gone here, 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 or here. Let's do this. Let's do that. And the others, like, well, the other guy's like, are you sure? If we split up, it means worse for us. They say when you're lost in the woods, or lost in the forest, and just Richard be like, are we in the forest? Does it look like that? Are we in I Spit on Your Grave? Yeah, we're in the desert. We're in the desert, fucker.
And then, when he's the only one left, he starts freaking out.
Yes, he does. And he starts getting lost, and he starts getting twisty-turny. What were some things that you want to talk about with this?
The climax of the film, when they go back to the house. I think all of that was fantastic.
Oh, that was fantastic. Right before we dive into that, I think another thing that was fantastic, you already mentioned it. When she cauterized the wound.
Yeah.
Really clever stuff. Really well done stuff. Something that I thought was interesting was when she pulled out the stump, I didn't find it that hard to look at because she herself was so, high on the drugs that when she was pulling it out, she wasn't like groaning and like the blood wasn't spewing out in that way. When she pulled it out, it really was a case of, now it's out. And then like her giving like that almost like, head back rolling of the eyes and then fainting. But it was that thing of like, you're waiting for so long for her to pull it out because she has it in there for a good chunk of the movie.
She takes out 1/3 of the antagonist before taking it out. Yeah.
I actually thought, sleazy, cheesy B-movie fun. I thought she was going to take it out and stab him with it. I thought, that type of gung-ho, grindhouse.
This is what you did to me, now you taste it.
But she in fact doesn't do that, and she kills that.
Get it away from me! I don't want to see it again.
Yeah, but with the stump, I thought like you're waiting so long for that gore scene. You go, oh okay, and I thought it was actually done pretty tastefully. Like that wasn't the harsh thing. She actually like went about it very succinctly, and I was thinking to myself, you've got the hole in your back. You're going to deal with the hole in your back? We don't see her deal with that, but you do tell that she dealt with it because her back is just like nothing but burns and scorch and it looks black smoke.
When she's taking off her shirt just before, taking the stump out, like she's screaming because it's like, stuck
yeah, it's all the way through.
Yeah. You had the line of dialogue earlier about the Polish man who took the peyote and like couldn't even feel himself. He was like cutting his leg off. So that told you like, okay, it's a painkiller as well. So, that's why she was kind of casual during that sequence.
Yeah, and I think the film, really knows what it's about, in which, yes, we're going to show the pain that she goes through, but the pain is going to be the result of them. The pain is going to be the assault itself. The pain is going to be impaled on that tree itself. But then, from then on, we're not going to make it like, oh, because she's got no shoes on, you're going to see her like cut up her feet and go, or like pulling out the stump and you're going to see her like truly for the full event. Like, no, we're going to use this setup from the very first scene of the peyote to give her the means to medicate herself and get through this. And then every violent action that happens to her is one in which is tit for tat. Like you shot him, he shoots you type deal, rather than the film itself finding further ways to torture her. Like, it doesn't do that. It really
No.
goes, like, it's really clever and respectful to the main character. It's not here to just be that gore fest, like, perverted, like, yeah, let's keep hurting this girl, so that way when she hurts them, it feels all the more rewarding. It's like, no, this knows when, like, it knows that you want, in some way, the gore scene where she pulls out the stump, but it also is tasteful about it. It says, no, we're going to give you that, but it's going to be on her terms, which is nice.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to the whole thing about, like, we're not making her like a super Terminator taking them down. This is a human. And you kind of have that moment where she wakes up the next morning and she is kind of like, badass pose. Like, I've got the gun, I'm walking out.
The bandolier.
It's like, oh, look at this cool, but she's in revenge mode. And then you get the snap of like, oh no, nightmare. I get killed instantly by this guy.
Again and again, nightmare.
Yeah,
nightmare.
and I do think they faked out a little too many times there, but I liked the initial impact of it.
I thought it was fine because it was just again and again and again, like you understand it. It wasn't like a film that we covered that also, there's so many films that is in great dialogue with this, The Nightingale.
Mm-hmm.
That film had nightmare dream sequences that was sprinkled throughout the movie that I felt lessened the movie. And this one is like, no, let's put all of them in one sequence together and move the fuck on. Like, you get the narrative.
There is an impact to what they're doing, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, there's a version where we could do it like The Nightingale and sprinkle it throughout to get to the point, or we could do it the French way where we just smack you in the face with it in one good hit and you just move the fuck on and go, you got it, right?
Yeah, I was ingratiating myself a little bit as it went on because that's when you started getting introduced to like the animal comparison stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, the climax, we want to talk about that climax. The thing too is, we got this house. We get the geography of the house in the first 20 minutes, but then we get it reestablished to us with the camera following Richard as he goes through it.
The really long single shot, yeah.
Yeah, just all of it, and you're really getting the sense of like, oh, okay. And even then, when we get through him doing it, there's a part of the brain, at least for me, where I didn't think of it as much of a maze as it is until we start running around again and again and again and again and again and again and again. It's like, oh, it really is a labyrinth. It really is this maze-like structure.
Kind of, yeah. There's like this one loop.
But it's so, like, sharp and jagged and like corner, corridor, bathroom. It's like outside. Don't forget, we go outside at the back. Woof.
No, that whole one shot was really good. Like, it starts with him still dirty on the couch, gets up, takes off his clothes, starts having a shower, gets paranoid, and then you get like the in-depth geography of like, these are the places you need to know. Like, there's this hallway behind or to the side of like the living room. Leads outside, leads back into the living room. You go outside, he starts having a look around.
Don't forget the bathroom.
Yeah, and again, going back to the thing I was saying about like, this film's very consistent about not making her like the horror protagonist. Like, you don't know where she is. Like, I was actually, as much as I was enjoying that one shot, I was worried that that's what they were doing. Like, she's going to jump scare us. Like, no, that's going to kind of betray the effect. And I really, really liked that the payoff to that was, the jump scare was the TV, and then the slow realization of he sees her off frame.
Yes.
And then it pans over to her. Like that, like perfect. You didn't do the jump scare. You did the, he sees her now, and then, pan.
There is so much playing around with genre and pastiche, but in ways that are obvious and not. Like, she, is this horror movie protagonist, the last girl type protagonist, but without any other girls. But the I Spit in Your Grave protagonist, but also like Mad Max. There is this Mad Max thing, and even a Clint Eastwood type character. When you give her the bandolier and she has no lines of dialogue, but she gives you a hard stare. Because that moment, we were watching it, my wife and I, and Rachel's like, just shoot him. And I'm like, and she's like, why is she just looking at him? And I said, without skipping a beat, I just said, because it's what Clint Eastwood would do. She's doing the Western, spaghetti Western, where it's like, I'm going to give you the hard death stare. Like, I can shoot you right now, but you know that I could, but I'm not.
Yeah.
And that's more terrifying.
And
I'm in charge. You're not.
It didn't fall for the trap of like, having her have a moment of weakness where she gets distracted by something, and that's when he gets advantage of her, or her
she shoots
like forgiving him and then he betrays her again. Like, no, she is laser focused on him.
she gives him a critical shot and then she uses it later as well. Like she just fingers his wound. It's so good.
Yeah, and a big part of the climax is that looping hallway. They literally like run in circles for a long part of it, and it is kind of silly.
Oh, yeah.
But like there is a legitimate like building of an element doing that. It's getting bloodier and bloodier. Therefore, that hallway is getting slipperier and slipperier.
And it's like tiled floors, wooden floors, carpeted. There's like all different types of flooring.
Yeah.
Like outside, like the carpets of the lounge room, the wooden, like the just linen, like whatever type of flooring, and then the tiles of the bathroom. Like you get different types of floor.
Yeah, like
to deal with that gets slipperier or not.
Yeah, like as they are going through that hallway over and over and over and over again, you're thinking like, okay, what's going to be the element that like, gets one over on them? Like, oh, one of them's going to leave the loop and like ambush them or something. But no, it's that they both slip and now they are both in this hallway and it's going to all be settled in this hallway.
I absolutely adored it. And, we mentioned like there's silliness there, but it's because it doesn't become pure farce because the tension's still there. There's so much at play. Like, for instance, he's naked. Throughout this whole entire sequence, he is naked. He has no bandolier, no holsters, no knives.
He
just has a gun, and even then, he's lost that for portions of it too.
The most he gets is this not cellophane, the
cling wrap,
around to like cover up his wound.
And even then, doesn't work. She tears right through that.
Yeah,
but there's this great sequence. There's this great sequence, but there's tense moments in it. Like, one of the things I knew about this movie, I didn't know much about, like, I knew the premise. That poster for the movie I'd seen so many times of her holding the big rifle with the scope on it covered in blood. I've seen that so many times. I'd seen the DVD so many times. But one sequence I knew was him naked, holding the gun, waiting around the corner while she's slowly stepping towards out of the corridor, and then she doesn't see him, she sees the blood, his blood on the floor, and then she knows to back off. That's the one scene I knew of the movie before I walked in.
Yeah.
And that scene, even knowing it, still hits. It is so, so good. Because then when that cat and mouse chase starts up, you can say it's silly or whatever, but the genuine filmmaking that was put into the lead-in of it is so effective that it's in your mind as you still see them run around and around and around. Like, it's Hitchcock level filmmaking. It is pure cinema in that way. So when we get them Looney Tunes almost after each other, I'm still like in awe of just like, wow, that was really great. But this scene that follows it isn't betraying it. It's just escalating it to a new level.
And you buy into it too, because they're kind of going in the loop because they don't know where the other is at.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, until I see them, I'm not going to really like change my pattern because we're literally on like the other side.
And they can hear each other.
Yeah, yeah. And again, going back to that one moment you knew, I really like that not only did she realize the clever thing, like, oh, I should go the other way, he eventually looks down and realizes, oh shit, she must know that I am here. And that's what kind of starts the loop.
It's so amazing.
Yeah, like we've talked many times before about like these kind of horror films where there's like the comedic element to it.
Mm-hmm.
And very often maybe somewhat stubbornly, there are some films when we do that have this kind of thing where I kind of look down on the comedy. It's like, oh, I want more of like the raw horror thing. I don't so much want like the comedy. Like I had that kind of with The Loved Ones and the first time I saw The Guest. Second time when we did it for the podcast, like I was more into it. With this one, though, like when it does do comedy stuff, it's subtle enough to where it doesn't bother me.
It's because the film itself is being comedic rather than the characters.
I guess that's a way to put it, yeah.
Like the characters aren't like David from The Guest, where like Dan Stevens is playing a comedic character hiding in a horror movie setting. While this film, like, none of the actors are, like, looking to the... Like, there's no winking, no nudging, but the filmmaking itself, like, the title sequence, the way the font is used, like this huge font that just is in this bright color, that's where the comedy lays. So when we get this effect of them running, there's someone, I bet you, that would watch that scene and wouldn't think of it as funny at all, just take it at face value serious. So that's what I mean, where it does have that layer deeper where you can take it on the surface level of this rape revenge movie, or you could go underneath that surface and see all of the little inner workings that we've been talking about here. Like, one of the most terrifying sequences we didn't get the chance to discuss was her first kill.
Mm-hmm.
When she takes down Dimmy, the more nice guy. He's the smartest one, you find out. He's like, oh, I'm using my hunter skills against you. You thought I would leave my gun loaded like a fucking idiot? He reveals, like, I'm actually really intelligent.
It was all a trap.
It was all a trap. I'm trapping you. Fuck you. And I'm going to kill you by drowning you. The worst way to do it, too. And, like, she gets the upper hand and she stabs him. But, like, that was, like, a shocking moment. I was genuinely like, oh, she's going to get the gun and it's going to thing. And I thought, when it clicked, I was like, oh, she doesn't know about safety. She does know about safety. She knows to turn the safety off. We see that throughout the movie. Like, she knows.
I thought the twist was going to be that it's like, oh, it's not one of the rapists or something.
No, right. Yeah, but no. Yeah, that too. That would have been interesting as well.
He wasn't a rapist, but one of the guys.
One of the culprits. But no, it was, I left it unloaded because I knew that you would want to take it. And now I'm going to fucking kill you.
Yeah, and he's the only one that really sprung like a plan on her.
He's the closest, really, like, for a good portion at almost killing her. Then Richard near the end gets his chance, and then it doesn't work out well for him either. But, like, the middle guy, the actual rapist guy, he never really gets a chance, really. Like, he shoots off her ear, but his one's so pathetic because he's, like, injured, and he's, like, using it on the injured arm, so it's really shaky, so you never feel the genuine threat of him.
Yeah, when he's lifting up the gun, it's, like, painful for him.
And then he puts, like, the butt of the gun on the shoulder that has been shot, because that's his dominant arm that he's firing with, but he's so injured.
Yeah, there's an element of, like, okay, this guy is a hunter, he is, like, still holding the gun steady, still firing, but, like, he is in so much pain that, yeah, you are kind of amused.
Yeah, it's pathetic and it's amusing. And, like, when he fires off the chunk of her ear and takes off her earring, it's not like, oh, as scary as, like, when the other two guys are almost killing her. There's almost that level of that comedy we're talking about where it's like, oh, how funny. He shot off one of her I actually said, how dare you shoot off one of her iconic earrings? Don't you know what that means? You'll die now. And then that's what happens. Yeah, he dies now.
Yeah, and the film has a bit of continuity with, like, her hearing after that, because when you have going forward again to the climax when, she fails to kill the former love interest character, he's, like, got her up against the wall, like, choking her, and he's, like, having this very, like, generic speech about, you thought you could beat me, you're just a woman, da 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 da, and it keeps cutting to her perspective and you can barely hear what he's saying, and it's just this very interesting comedy of, like, this character is not as complex as, you may have thought he was at the start of the film. Like, he is just,
an asshole.
Yeah, and potentially, I do like the element that, like, if you were to rewatch that scene, a dozen or so times, you could probably piece together his full monologue, so that's not completely incoherent. But yeah, that, like, the details of it don't matter because, like, he is just a selfish prick.
And there's so much fun filmmaking here. So, like, he chokes her out. They're in this bloody corridor. She's bleeding. He's bleeding. Everyone's bleeding. We get it from her. We get a POV shot. And you see the lens is, like, smeared with blood, but you also get the fun thing of, like, they're dripping blood from the top of the lens down, so it's, like, filling up the view because she is bleeding from the top of her head down, so she's now getting bloody vision, and it was just like, this is practical. It's not like a filter that they're using. They've, like, clearly put a thing here that they're filling with the red liquid of blood that's in front of the lens or on the lens itself. It's not like some After Effects or some filter. It's just so... And it's real, and like, there's a level of, like, oh, we're seeing the artifice of filmmaking here, but in a fun way, in a good way, in a way that you go, this film isn't taking itself seriously. Like, the amount of blood that these characters are losing is so ludicrous, and a huge part of the budget went to the blood, which is awesome. And I won't say anything about the substance, but that film and blood, it's like 10 times more. It's 10 times more blood. It's so much blood in that movie.
I was about to say that, with how good the film was, like, I wasn't noticing how much blood they were losing, but I do remember there being one point, I think it was when the loop was happening.
Yeah, you get one stark shot of the lounge room and it's just all blood.
Yeah, no. But the thing was, it was when the loop was happening. I thought, like, oh, you know what she could do to like win? Leave the loop, hide, and let him bleed out.
Yeah.
While he doesn't know where she is. He's just losing that much blood.
But then he realizes that too while running, and he tries to fix himself up.
Yeah.
He's like, oh shit, I need to do this too. Because there's a part of it where one of them just says, oh, let her bleed out in the desert. And it's like, no, if she survived that tree, she's going to be out there. We're going to take her down.
Yeah. I think one character I think says like, oh, did someone find her? It's like, no, she definitely survived.
She definitely survived. One image, none of this was scary to me. I wasn't scared. I was like, oh my God, this is a horror film where it's having so much more interest in other things. However, there was one image that I found striking and I was like, oh, I don't like this. And it's one that I could equate it to other films, even ones afterwards, like Talk to Me. The Australian one had a ghostly figure that was like this too. But in one of her nightmare sequences, she sees the drowned body of the first guy she kills. Yeah. And he's like this bloated husk, like this bloated corpse, and he just is like dribbling water out of his mouth continuously. Yeah, that was a shot where I was like, nope, don't like that. Do not like that. That was just one of those creepy things. And I thought about a few other movies, but Talk to Me had a ghostly figure that did exactly that. And I was just like, didn't like it in that movie either.
Yeah, and even when the two guys find his body and like, washes up on the lake while the guy's taking a piss, like he is bloated up like that. Yep. So it's like, oh, now we get to see it without, dream filter.
Yeah, with his eyes slit from where she stabbed him.
Yeah, he's kind of reminding me of like the Tor Johnson zombie from Redline from Outer Space in a way.
Nice. There was a lot of symbolism with the kills as well. He was drowned, like he was left in a body of water, which and he had his eyes stabbed out. So he turned a blind eye, so she took his eyes. He went for a swim while she was getting raped, and so she leaves him in a body of water. So fuck you. Like there's some thought into that. The rapist, there was the bit at the beginning where when she first met him, he frightened her, and she like dropped her thing, and glass shattered on the ground, and he like proceeded to walk forward anyway. Then she breaks glass from the torch, and then he steps in it, and it like stabs him in the foot, and like little things like that. There's like neat little through line of these things with each one of her kills or each one of her takedowns of the guys. And again, the lack of dialogue from her, this was a true shock moment. And again, I should have known better from the movie I had already been seeing, but she didn't have a one-liner.
Yeah.
She didn't have a thing when she had the gun against Richard, and he didn't have one either. It was just like he didn't even do I'm done. Like, you're just boom, dead, gone.
There's just there's just a brief moment, enough for you, the audience member, to think like there is nothing to say here. Just shoot, and then she shoots.
But you're so conditioned of how movies are. You want her to say, after he gave his villain monologue where he says the message of the movie, where it's like him being like, you women, you're always getting into your fights.
Always have to fight back.
And then she gets him. But she didn't have any. There was nothing to say. She did her thing, and then the movie, wisely ends with her mimicking Richard, where she's like walking down that edge of the pool, and she looks at, and then we hear the helicopter, and she looks at us, the audience. She just turns and looks at us as a transformed person, as reborn,
because we are the helicopter.
Yeah, she's looking at us like, you've seen what's happened here. I've now transcended. There's so much, just really thought-provoking, playful stuff like with this movie. But you look at it on like just look at it and you just go, oh yeah, this is like a campy, fun, schlocky revenge movie. It's called Revenge. It's so blunt in its approach. But then the more you stew on it, the more that you just go, wow, this has actually got a lot of moving pieces to it.
And a spider gets pissed on and dies.
Yeah, like there's this moment where I was wondering, like, okay, when she, steps out and she's got her new outfit on, she's now powered up.
Yeah, Avenger mode.
And the film was like, look at her butt, though. Look at this. Look at the, but it's doing it in a different way. Like the camera, like as the hero shot where like spins around her as it's going up her body to reveal like her with a big scope gun. And I'm just like, yeah, this is good. Well, what I will say about Coralie Fagette, I don't know her background in real life. I don't know, what her background is that much. I don't. She's actually quite private of a person, from what I know.
Mhm.
I know her movie tastes. One thing I do know from the 2 movies I've seen, she likes women's butts. She sure does love butts. Lots of butt shots in both of her films.
Well, there's a bit of man butt in this too.
Yeah, there was man butt, but I even pointed out to Rachel, the man butt shot, the glory shot of the man butt that we get at the beginning, is like, it's just half of his butt on screen. The other half's like off frame when she's like, but she's grabbing it. But with her butt, it's the full butt on screen all of the time. Lots of butt shots.
I was thinking more of his butt when he's having the shower.
That too. Oh, yes.
That's a full butt.
That's a full butt. Oh, yeah. She likes butts.
Sorry, we're Australian. Bum.
She loves bums, but very much female bums. I'll say that. But and
slightly man bums.
Slight man bums. And she loves close-up shots of men eating in filthy, disgusting ways, because the substance, that's some of the most gross stuff, is Dennis Quaid.
Hey, we don't know.
Eating.
We don't know if those ants were men.
Yeah, we don't know if there's. I felt so sorry for those poor ants that were getting hit with blood, and
that one, yeah.
And then I love the sound design of this movie too. Her sound design in her movies are great. This one, it's so ludicrous. Like, the blood hitting the ground were explosion sounds, but not just explosions. It was mortar shells. It's not just any explosions. It's a mortar shell. It's artillery going off.
That poor ant was doing its own D-Day.
It was going through D-Day. It was what a film. Anything else you want to say about Revenge?
Good film. Yeah. Yeah, and again, it was just so well thought out when I was comparing it to some of the stuff from I Spit on Your Grave, which I think that's a decent film, but yeah, just more thought here. Like, in that one I mentioned, there's 4 guys, and like the order that they killed off in is just really weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the main guy's killed off third.
Yeah.
And then the last guy is one of the guys that I dismissed as like, oh, and there's 2 other guys as well.
Oh, interesting.
It's like here, there's a good, build up of like, the kind of the one who kind of had the least going on, then the perpetrator, and then like the leader.
Yeah.
It's like
the one she had a personal relationship with.
Yeah. And very obvious, like, rising scale of relevance. It's like, yeah, this is how you do it.
A fine example of a film that execution is everything. Because, you could look at the script for this perhaps and say there's not much going on here. It's very generic, you could say, but it's the way you execute it, man. It's the way you go about these things. I do recommend this movie.
Absolutely,
I recommend
same
it.
here.
I think it's worth your time. I want to talk about the lead actress before we move on. So the lead actress, really great stuff. Matilda Lutz. She's Italian. Which was something too. There's a lot of French people, but there's also like a lot of Italians. I saw a lot of Italian names, saw a lot of French names, people speaking English in this movie. They're obviously the guys are all French, you could tell. Oh, well, not all. I mean, Richard, I think he's Danish.
I think, wasn't one of them like Bulgarian or something?
Oh, Bulgarian? Okay, they're all not Americans, which again, where's this film taking place? Is it in Mexico?
I think the lead actress is half American, so she has like an excuse to.
She has an excuse.
American.
However, she's in a film called Final Cut.
Okay.
Came out in 2022. Let me read you the plot synopsis, and you tell me what comes to your mind. So, Final Cut 2022 is as such. Things go badly for a small film crew shooting a low-budget zombie movie when they're attacked by real zombies.
Mm-hmm.
What does it remind you of?
That reminds me of a film that has cut in the name and a different word for last.
Yes. Go on.
Sorry, One Shot of the Dead.
Yes. One Cut of the Dead.
One Cut of the Dead, sorry, yes.
Yes. One giveaway, One Cut of the Dead, but this is the English remake of One Cut of the Dead.
Okay.
And unlike One Cut of the Dead, they don't get in one cut. It's 2 cuts. Tricky.
That's why they couldn't call it One Cut of the Dead.
Yeah, exactly. They actually had to do 2 cuts. But I was just like, oh, they actually made an English language version of that movie. Again, everyone, check out One Cut of the Dead. That movie's awesome.
That movie is...
That's a special time.
It's so good.
That's a special time.
It might be one of my favorites.
That's just a fun time.
That's one that I've said, like, we won't cover it on the show because we just do not want to spoil that thing.
That one's just
watch it.
It's just one where it makes you so happy that the craft of filmmaking exists and we can play with it no matter what.
Yeah.
So that is that. Now it is time to hear what the listening people's recommendation is. And I was looking through the list, and there's been a lot of thievery going on this podcast.
Oh,
lately.
really?
A lot of theft. And I'm going to choose someone who, they didn't know. It's not their fault. They've stolen from me of a film that I've had on my Pictures Powwow list. So not the list for this year where we're covering films that came out during the year, but this has been the animated film on my list of ones just to cover on the podcast that I haven't had the chance to get around to. But our good friend, the doctor himself, Dr. Rashesh, Dre Reshi's, suggested Redline, the Japanese animated film, Redline.
Okay.
And I've been, having that on my list for a while, and I don't know much about it, but I just know it's one of those ones that's like, hey, do you like well-animated films? And I'm like, yeah.
I like well-animated
You should
films.
watch Redline. And very funny. Like, this never factored in by watching, but I remembered that the YouTuber Charlie, Penguinzo, he had, for most of his videos in the background, a huge poster of this movie in a frame. He had the film because he loves this movie. It's one of his favorites. But that never factored into my recommendation. But then when I was looking up the movie again, it was reminded to me. It's like, oh yeah, Charlie likes that movie too. But Redline from 2009. So everyone make sure to give this a watch for yourself because we'll be talking about it next time. But until then, you can find us on the social medias of Facebook and Twitter. You can contact us on there, like our posts, let us know your thoughts on things as well as give us your film recommendations. You can also email us, which is...
the email of ours is spitandpolished@gmail.com.
spitandpolished@gmail.com. Everything's included in the description below. Yes, feel free to recommend a film. If we can find it, we'll watch it and talk about it. We try our best.
And if we can't find it, we'll keep it on the list for the future.
And try, because sometimes things pop up.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes they just emerge.
That Polish film that suddenly became super available.
Super available, yes.
Yeah.
But until next time, listening people, remember, finish an apple. Don't just take one bite out of it. Just finish the whole apple. Don't leave it there for the insects to get.
Yeah, what was that woman thinking? Well, she redeemed herself. She went through some stuff.
Yeah. One of the most terrifying things about that corridor sequence was, I don't know if you noticed this, but along the left-hand side of the corridor, when we're in the final shot of it, you see that there's all of these plates and bowls.
It's like a shelf or something.
Shelf of things. I was like, man,
Very
I'd be
low
so
shelf.
nervous if I was an actor and I had to do the slip there of hitting those. I'd be so nervous of that.
Ryan's immersion was broken.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking, not just actors, but just in real life, I was just like, oh, I would hate that.
Yeah. I don't mean to keep bringing up I Spit on Your Grave, but just one more thing, because you said...
Just one more thing.
Just one more thing about I Spit on Your Grave from the 80s.
Do you think Peter Falk watched it with his one eye?
Yeah, he wanted to see what was being covered up and how he'd catch it.
Whenever something got disgusting, he would take out his glass eye and just put it away so it doesn't see it. Yeah.
But the poster for that film is like the back of a woman who's like partly undressed, from the neck down. There was some trivia on the Wikipedia page for the actress, the model of that woman, Demi Moore, who you mentioned earlier on.
Yes, I was actually about to say, oh, you mean Demi Moore?
Yeah.
That was one of her things, yeah.
Connection to the Substance, directed by this lady.
But I'm all sure it was coincidental. I'm sure it's just coincidental, right, Caroline?
Well, she hasn't seen I Spit on Your Grave.
Maybe she did for the Substance, we don't know.
Yeah, maybe she saw it after watching Revenge.
Maybe Demi told her to watch it. She's like, you gotta hire me for the Substance? Watch I Spit on Your Grave for my poster.
I liked your film Revenge. It was very much, you clearly really appreciated I Spit on Your Grave. It's like, what's that? Oh, you gotta watch I Spit on Your Grave.
At least check out the poster, because I'm in that.